Glad to know you're still with us. Today, we're reviewing the latest results from MTN Nigeria and Airtel Africa PLC. And it truly feels like a super season for Nigeria's telecoms industry. Just a year ago, both companies were battling forex nightmare and heavy losses. Now the story has flipped. MTN Nigeria has posted a remarkable 1.11 trillion naira profit, marking a 408% turnaround and a repaired balance sheet. Airtel Africa has also delivered, with 9-month earnings up nearly 200% and Nigerian revenue surging 71% in one quarter. But beyond the headline numbers, our tougher questions: are these gains driven mainly by tariff hikes or by deeper cost reforms and business transformation? Well, joining me to unpack this, I have Okikiola Adepoju, Telco Analyst, Meristem Securities. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I want us to do a comparison of the two results. I know we're looking 9 months for Airtel Africa, and it's a group thing, and then we have MTN, we're just looking at Nigeria. So talk to me, what are the things that stand out to you when you look at the two results?
Okay, so I think it's even important to note that they both play in the same industry. Yes? So most of the factors that contributed to their growth, right, in this period was very similar. We you know, there was favorably stable macroeconomic environment, and especially for MTN and Airtel, we saw the effects of the implementation of the 50% tariff increase during the year, and we also saw increased, subscriber numbers. We saw increased data usage. We also saw, expansion in broadband. We saw expansion into. I remember that even Airtel rolled out like over 2,000 sites in Nigeria, and these were some of the things that aided their performance in this section. So looking at Airtel, right? Airtel plays even beyond outside of Nigeria. So we also saw expansion in their francophone industry, in their francophone economy. They were like expansion, and then I think the major thing, to be very honest, is the tariff increase, and then the fact that we recorded higher data subscription for both of the players. Yeah.
All right, for MTN, I want us to look at this. We saw sharp reduction in borrowing, and that was despite higher capital spending. Should we expect further deleveraging for this year?
I would say yes. I would say so because they've been able to, if you look at the numbers, you see that over 50% of their borrowings has been paid off, right? And even during the their earnings call, there was also talk about the possibility of even deleveraging more than they already are, right? And if you look at their cash balance, we can see that they're already in a positive cash balance. Even their retained earnings was in a negative position in 2024, and we see now that retained earnings is now in a positive position. So they have, I would say that they have enough cash balance to even fund whatever expansion plans they have. And so even if they will be taking on more debts, I don't think that it would be significant enough to offset whatever profits they currently have. So we could actually see more deleveraging for MTN going forward. Okay,
so I want to compare this to, we're going to the stock market now. So when you look at MTN, you see it has reached a 52-week high. Yeah. So I'm wondering, is it that the market has already priced in the IHS Tower thing, and has the market also priced in these results? So should we start looking forward to maybe some level of pullback, market correction, correction or something? And then for Airtel, I've not seen any movement. Airtel has not moved since the beginning of 2026. Talk to us.
Okay, so for MTN, I don't see a pullback anytime soon, and that's because even before their revenue announcements, even before the earnings recovery, even before the announcements for IHS Towers, there has been a positive sentiment. MTN is the biggest, permits me to say, the biggest telecommunications player in Nigeria, right? So there's been a positive sentiment regarding MTN, and there's also been, so investors usually position ahead. When they paid dividend the last quarter, it actually kind of added to the positive investor sentiment regarding MTN. So knowing that their results are coming out and that there could be expectations of another dividend announcement, investors already positioned ahead. And even looking at the NGX ASI right now, the sentiment is very high, right? If you look at February, it was only last week that we recorded a week-on-week decline in the market. It has been consistent. So it's not even special to only MTN or Airtel, right?
What's happening to Airtel?
Okay, so for Airtel, I think that the most important thing for Airtel is because their share price is already very high, and there's not much liquidity. There's not much liquidity in Airtel. There's not much liquidity. I think that's the thing. So for for Airtel now, if you look at the difference between the bid and the offer, you would see that there's a slight difference. People are not willing to sell. And if there's nobody selling, there's no way for you to buy. And so there's no way, and that's what kind of makes it move. So there's not much liquidity for Airtel. And I think that it's just perception, really. It's just investors' perception concerning Airtel. I feel like investors are usually more biased towards MTN because they feel like it's a Nigerian-based, company, and they could relate more to whatever it is that is happening in MTN more than they could to whatever is happening in Airtel. So I think that's just it.
All right, so what's your outlook for a stock performance moving forward for both of them? For
both of them. So I still expect continued investor sentiment in MTN, right? After the IHS announcement, we saw the massive, increase in MTN, right? Just yesterday, MTN was on Friday was at 760 something, and now it's almost at 780 thereabouts. So I still expect that, with the stable macroeconomic environment, with the MPC 50 basis points rate cut too, I expect that it's going to drive, positive investor sentiment in MTN. And then speaking to Airtel, I do not foresee anything significant enough, to make the share price move from what it currently is at. And we could also see MTN move to a rate of 1,000 later in the year.
1,000? How soon do you see that happening?
Well, not anytime soon, but I believe that so we could see this happen maybe later in the year, right? Looking at the expansion plans that MTN has, looking at their performance, right? I don't foresee anything negative or strong enough to offset the positive momentum that MTN is having in their recovery now in their earnings. So, and this could continue for a while. And of course, if investors are seeing that the company is doing well, they are paying dividends, it will drive more sentiments towards the market.
All right, so there are talks about how that infrastructure, maintenance fee, and all of this sort of contributes to the cost of operation. And at the end of the day, it's the consumers that get to pay for it. But looking at that, what's your outlook for it? What do you think will happen moving forward? Okay, so I would say that, like I mentioned earlier, that whatever expansion plans that they currently have, I believe that their cash balance is enough to, carry that. And if there would be need for infrastructure, and we even saw like more, should I say, collaborations in the sector where, there was infrastructure sharing and all of that. So I don't think that, all of the cost is just going to the consumers, right? The companies are also funding some of this, and that's why we could see that their borrowings could later increase, like I mentioned, but it will not increase to the point where it's now offsets whatever profits they've made. Okay, so just so before we close, I want to draw your attention to Airtel's result. We see that, the Nigeria revenue grew by 71% year-on-year, and then the EBITDA margin expanded by 900 basis points. Can you purely attribute this to, tariff hikes in a high inflation environment? Do you think that was what really contributed to what we saw there? I would say that it was a major part of it, but I can't say that's the only thing. So let's talk about the other things. So there was increased subscriber numbers. We saw that even Airtel Mobile Money, right, there was increased expansion in that section. So these players, their sector is a sector that I would say is an essential good. It's not discretionary. Even other sectors rely on this sector for some of their services. And so because of the services that they offer, right, is not something that we can do away with, for lack of better words. So there would still be continued interest in, people would still use data. There's still AI expansion, right? People will still make calls, will still send text messages. And these are the things that contribute to their performance. And so I don't see any of this stopping anytime soon. So that is why I said that it's not only the tariff. Yes, the tariff played a major part in this. But if you look at the number of the subscriber numbers that we have now, the data usage that we're experiencing now, you can see that it is more demand, right? There's higher pricing, yes, but there's also increased demand, which was what led to their performance. All right, thank you so much, Okikiola Adepoju, Telco Analyst, Meristem Securities, for coming on the show and sharing your thoughts with us. Thank you for having me.